It's game time. The Kid Gowie. Ravens Nation. All we know is purple and black. And if you're not a Ravens fan, Welcome to Baltimore, Maryland, M&T Bank Stadium, where opponents don't make it out alive unless we bury them. Every team be afraid of them, especially all the quarterbacks, cause our defensive linemen won't hesitate to leave you sacked. Let's take a minute, go back to Super Bowl 35. Domination was an understatement up against the Giants. Numerous touchdowns, they put up numbers, and it didn't take a nutritionist to see they hunger. Only stat Kerry Collins could get was interceptions. He must have thought throwing to the D counted as receptions. The pass was legendary, but don't sleep on the present. Our secondary make quarterbacks avoid that direction. You tryna run the ball, you better hope your blockers work. You can juke, you can spin, but your destination's the turf. This is a man's game, being soft will get you hurt. Watch the defense force a fumble and the fans go berserk. 17 weeks, only one league out of 32 squads. No one's messing with our team. We all bleed black and purple, you can check our IVs. Raven Nation fly high, watch us all spread our wings. Put your game face on, embarrass the competition. You ain't talking about the greatest if the Ravens aren't mentioned. Screw every other team, cause those dudes are whack. In Baltimore, the only thing we know is purple and black. Go! They always win when the championship's on the line. So if you hoping that they failed, then you really wasting your time. Going as the 49ers, I'm pretty sure they remember when they made a comeback, but weren't declared the winners. 2 rings down, but you know they won't stop now. If the opposing D's caught slipping, you know exactly how that goes. That's another deep connection for 6 points in the end zone. The stadium goes wacko as Ravens put in work. Pittsburgh Steelers, that still curtain is looking more like a skirt. So tell me who they say is gonna beat them Bengals. Who used to be the Browns until they relocated? Ravens, they are one of the greatest. There's simply no denying it. To beat them, bringing your A game's a requirement. With the youth of the team, I bet they still be dominant, even after the greatest linebacker's retirement. 17 weeks, only one league out of 32 squads. No one's messing with our team. We all bleed black and purple, you can check our IVs. Raven Nation fly high, watch us all spread our wings. Put your game face on, embarrass the competition. You ain't talking about the greatest if the Ravens aren't mentioned. Screw every other team, cause those dudes are whack. In Baltimore, the only thing we know is purple and black. Go!
Welcome to a special edition of the SCG Sports. I was going to say AFC North Talk. SCG Sports, my name is Sunny. Thank you, everybody, for coming. I have behind enemy lines, I don't know, 20 to 30 minutes to see when the guys come there from Kansas City, from Chiefs to Focus. So when they come in, if you want to have any questions, I'm going to use Super Chat today with them. They might grab other questions that they see, but just so you know, that's how we're going to do this. I had 2 pages of things that I wanted to say about this game against the Chiefs, but I can only assume one of my daughters got it, but we can talk about it. First, let me do a quick, very, very quick summary about the Raiders game. Or not necessarily the Raiders game. There's a video out there if you want to see all my thoughts. And something that you're going to see from this channel moving forward is what we're going to be doing is the good, the bad, and the ugly. And some people got butthurt. Butthurt is the right word. Because I put Lamar in my ugly, but I put a bunch of people in my ugly. It was not a pretty game. We jumped into a 14-0 lead. Should have won that game. And we let it go, including coaching. I said one of my biggest pet peeves in that game was, in the end, when we were tied, and it was 3rd and 4 or 5. I hated the play. I hate the rolling pocket to the right, the Lamar play, the play that they call for Lamar, rolling pocket. Look, I would have just done a read pass option. I legit, you put a hitch route, a slant pass, and then you read to give. or you just keep and go. But when you roll that pocket to the right, now you limit yourself, because not the same that it was just a normal play. He scrambled to the right, right? That would have been different. It was the play basically moved to the right. But now you basically have from the middle of the field to the right. So yeah, I hated it. I hated it. William Brown, shout out to you. Let me do a quick roll call here. I see Savage, Rich, Brandon Tillman. Shout out to both of you. Baltimore 76B more. I'm sorry, Raven 76. It's late here. It's midnight, or it's about to be midnight. Bro Raven Smith, Graham Cracker, and William Brown. I think I took everything that has commented here. Also, before I go with my analysis of the game, one thing that I also gonna have for the people that, again, people that want to just help donate to the channel, super comments, something new that YouTube offered me. So I'm gonna see if people want to do it. Basically, it's when the video is recorded. If you want to leave a comment, you can leave it with super comments, and then you just donate it to the channel, which I'll appreciate you doing it. You don't have to do it. I try to answer as much comments as I can. Okay, oops. Let me just make sure this is in silent, because we don't want to interrupt like that. Chiefs, Ravens, guys. I just saw Westry officially went to IR. We're dropping like flies. Stanley won't play. Almost feel like this game we should say, yo, we'll take the L. Nobody gets hurt, because from next week on, from the Lions week on, we just basically have to go 11-3. No, 12-3. Yeah, 11-4, 12-3, right? Which is a big task. Not impossible, but a big task. Keys to the game for the Ravens to win. Again, a tall task in my opinion. 3.5 points does not seem big, but what Vegas is telling you right there is the Chiefs are 7.5 points better than the Ravens. 3 points are given for the home team. They're 3.5 on top of that, so 6.5 is for Vegas is saying. So less than a touchdown, which is surprising to me. Think about this again: injuries. So this is a game. This is a game that if the Ravens want to win, they need to do what they used to do. And you gotta say, Sonny, but what they used to do to beat the Chiefs. Well, it will be better against this Chiefs team, because you control the game, you control the tempo, and you give a break to your tackles. I'm gonna be fair here. The inside of the O-line, I've been seeing people saying, "Oh, Ben Cleveland, we need to bring Ben Cleveland." No, I told y'all that Ben Cleveland was not gonna start. When I watched Ben Cleveland's tape, he was not ready. He looks impressive. He looks big, right? Well built. He ain't ready. When you watch that tape, he was not ready. So no Ben Cleveland. Ben Cleveland's gonna be activated and being in the benches in case somebody gets injured. But the inside, right? Phillips, and you guys know I criticize Phillips when he doesn't play well, especially when he plays guard. He played good when he was there. Bozeman played solid also. And then you have Siler play solid. I hate Siler's reshuffling. He got called for a full start, and then I saw that basically before every play he just resets, and I hate it. I personally hate it, but whatever. Okay. Saying that, when Powers comes in still, but Ben Powers was playing still fairly good that inside. Now, the Raiders inside D-line, McCoy, and we saw not only what happened, hopefully he's healthy, but what has happened to him in his career. Right, last year he didn't play, and he has not been the same Jerome McCoy. But the tackles were good. I'm sorry, the edges were good, and they were just dominating our tackles. Well, the Kansas City Chiefs D-line is not great. We're gonna talk about that D-line later with the guys. And again, if you have any questions when they come, I'm more than welcome to ask them. Chris Jones is an animal. Crosby's really good, but Chris Jones, man, woo! We need to figure out how to stop him. If you contain him, we might have a chance. And how I contain him, I will run right at him, right at him, right at him. And like I said, and Ravens play very similar to how we opened last year. How we opened last year was like, let's just try to change more passing, right? And this is again, and I said this is what y'all want, right? Not necessarily people that are currently watching, but Ravens fans in general, Ravens Twitter, if you want to say like that, we want to pass more, we want to pass more. And all here, Sonny has always said, like, no, let's keep pounding, let's keep running, and we sprinkle the passes. And I don't care if no high mark wide receiver wants to come, because just how we run the ball is so difficult for defense to adjust, that then you add an element to the passing side, but not like trying to completely change your identity, then we're gonna be good. But no, we said, nah, F that shit. We're gonna just pound, we're gonna just pass the ball. We opened the game with a Lamar three-step, I don't know if it was a dive. It looked like a B gap run, giving the ball, right? Handoff. And I was like, but this is definitely different. Russia. Okay, whatever. But then you can see how Lamar was conservative and play calling, meaning in the first half specifically, that they were not doing the read option. Now, it could be because of new running backs, right? And the new running backs, the handoff, blah, 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 which it happened with Williams. But at that point, now you limit Lamar. And look, then dropping back, I was like, Lamar, there's so much green in there. There was. Yeah, it looked like the Ravens was making a conservative effort to change the style of play. And I do disagree with that specifically against Kansas City. And again, most of you will tell me, Sonny, that that style of play has not given us W's. And you're correct. But with our tackle play right now, you can't afford dropbacks, because I said Chris Jones basically is the only one, but no, could be more than Chris Jones if we just drop back. So running the ball, controlling the clock is one of my keys to victory. Second, when I made my list, I remember putting, Westry has to be able to, slow down a little bit. Kelsey, not stop him, but slow down as the big corner. Well, he ain't playing. And now you have Marlon. I expect in situations that they're going to blitz, you're going to put Marlon on Kelsey, Averett on Hill, and bracket him and hoping that's enough, right? So saying that, my other key to the game will be CEH. You don't want to hear anything about CEH. Nothing. If CEH goes off, it's over. It's over, because now they can not only throw it all over you, they can run it. No. One-dimensional. That's what you want from the Chiefs. One-dimensional. And that dimension is good. It's lethal. But you want that one dimension, because if you keep it there, now you can hopefully manage them a little better. Third, two things. I hate blitzing against Mahomes, but I also hate giving him time. If you blitz, you have to get him. Meaning, even if you don't second QB hits, pressures, there was none of that. I saw the safeties and corners that were blitzing through the B gap, right? So they were not coming from the edge. They were coming basically floating across the DN, between the DN and the nose tackle. They went all the way to the line, and then they stay there. I'm like, dude, you're like in the 2-yard line. You're not even in the 5-yard line. You're like in the 2-yard line. What are you doing there? Because even if Carr would have said, well, F this, I'm going to go to my right, to my left, those dudes were out of the play completely. So if you blitz, you have to get to the quarterback. If not, you're going to have a hell of a long day. And when we don't blitz, those 4/5, they're rushing, you need to create pressures. I'm not even going to ask you for a sack. I'm not even going to ask you for a sack. I just need pressures. I need Mahomes to feel pressure. And where's the big money in this D line? The center. I need you, Calais Campbell, and you, Big Baby, to pressure um Mahomes through the middle. Even better than the edges. I think pressure to the middle is gonna be more effective up against Mahomes. Okay, that's another key to the game. Please, this is not a key, but let's try to hold Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelsey. I don't know, a buck 40 between both of them. If we do that, that's decent, right? Uh, the Chiefs are right now. They're depending on those two weapons. So obviously, if you can somehow slow them down, that looks better. I know they have Michael Harmon as well, but those two are. Those two are the. You know how Waller was. I don't even know how the right word, but you know how Waller was the offense essentially for Oakland. But these two are that for KC. So that third option sometimes falls off favor. Another person again, going back to CEH, you don't want to hear much about it. PQ, because what CEH is really good in the passing game as well. PQ or Patrick Queen, he needs to gear up. He needs to be able to lock down if he leaks out of the backfield. Okay. Lamar, there's no room for mistakes in this game. Hold on to the ball, no fumbles. No fumbles, no interceptions. Look at the Browns. The Browns should have won that game. If we're completely honest, the Browns should have won that game, but there was one thing that allowed Kansas City to come back. It was turnovers, right? Fumble, interception, and fumble of the punter that was a turnover now. Those are huge. Kansas City has zero turnovers over 3 turnovers. Kansas City wins only by 5. So they're beatable, but you cannot self-inflict wounds. Okay? So if you want to win this game, you have to make sure you locked in with no turnovers. Special teams also be on point, because if they run one back for a touchdown or they block something, that kills you. Again, look at the Steelers. Essentially, when that game shifted, was block, punt, touchdown. So you cannot allow that. Let me see some of the comments before I go with the last one. Real Raven says our coaching has been holding us back for years. You have to be careful for Ravens, because sometimes grass is not greener on the other side, and I see some bank coaches just killing a franchise. Yeah, underrated at being on the bench. He might need to showcase that a little bit more. I don't know who you're talking about, William Brown. I don't believe in our run first offense anymore. I got you. The problem is you don't have an O-line to switch to a more passing. Look, when Lamar tried to pass more, most of the time he was just getting hit or duress, right? So, yes, I think Lamar was pressure 50% of the time. That's the big problem. Passing felt forced in the Raiders game on those few opening drives. Fair. To the safety against Mahomes, when we blitz, we do it poorly and get a huge play. I don't want to see many big plays. Okay. I love the lack of blitzes against the Bills. Oh, gotcha. What up, shout out to you, Big Rich. Leaving legend. Sonny, what's good, bro? That offensive line. Yeah, offensive line is a big problem. Look, again, I'm going to say this again because I actually put it in the good Olafio way. He was on the good. He played well. But a tackle would have been nice. You just lost Orlando Brown, right? Pre-draft. You got that pick. I understand you can't pay Orlando Brown. I got it. Find a right tackle. Plug it there. Like, when you got Ben Cleveland, I know a lot of people were excited. But the first thought that I had in my mind is like, after the first, you Google Ben Cleveland, you see this amount of a guy with this little lady next to him, right? Which I'm assuming is his girlfriend. You're like, damn, he's big. So, but then you see his tape, you're like, he's raw. And then you see our roster. We have like 1,000 guards. How many tackles we have? We had not that many. So a tackle would have been good. But we went off away again. Not that we didn't need a pass rush, but your big asset, Lamar Jackson, he needs protection. He needs protection. Queen is only good in blitz. I apologize. Raven Queen is also good sniffing. What do you call that? Screens. He is really good at screens. And please stop dropping our best rushers into coverage. It is counterproductive. I'm assuming you're meaning because of Houston. Fair. Let me see here. I feel you, Sonny, because offensive line not capable of passing. They are better blocking for running the ball. Yes. Will Freeman make a big difference? No. And the other thing, talk about I got pissed with coaches. Williams running well. Greg Roman. Why Williams didn't touch the ball as well? To be fair, Murray did a decent job. Oh, this is now one back league. So you're telling me if William comes and was cooking at 7 yards a clip, you're like gonna be like, Murray, come here. Freeman, come here. No. You go with the hot hand. If he was cooking, you leave him in. I was upset with that. And again, I feel like we abandoned the run for some reason in this game. I'm sorry to say it, but our pass rush scheme needs some change. Not disagreeing. We don't stand a chance. There's electric Tyrone. It's always a chance. It's very little, but there's always a chance. Michael, shout out to you. Thank you for watching the live stream. Well, Browns fan here, Lamar, you guy will always have a chance. Exactly. You see, Michael knows. Shout out to you, man. Another shout out. I was listening this game prior to the start of the season, so I'm optimistic. Okay, look, you wouldn't bet this game, right? You root for your team. My team, for me, always have a chance. But if you have to bet this game, like if they say you have to bet this game for your house, you don't have a choice. Just figure into your head. You take the Chiefs -6.5, -3.5, right? Take the Chiefs because the Ravens are injured. I wish we were healthy. Healthy versus healthy in the M&T Bank. That's what I would like. One thing, Orlando Brown had a tough game. The Ravens should know every single weakness that Orlando Brown has. Every single weakness. So that being said, hold on, because the guys are right here. So saying that, I'm expecting Wing to exploit everything, every single Brown's a little slow in his feet. So I would like to see Odafe against Brown, and not only that, I would like to see him playing wide, a little bit wide, right? Next to him is Thuney. So Thuney is a very good guard and very savvy guard. So it's gonna be hard to confuse Thuney in a stun, but let him try to play one-on-one against Calais Campbell, because the center try to isolate. Try to isolate those three. Try to isolate Odafe over there, and then you have Campbell against Thuney, and then Big Baby against the rookie, right? And then on the other side, go ahead and put Marabuki and Justin Houston. Say, okay, now go eat. Like those are our best five. If you're rushing, instead of Manabuki, you can also put Pro McPhee. It's another idea. Again, I think if we do pressure, then definitely there's a chance. Slight, but there's a chance. Look, Lamar is gonna try to do too much because there's not much there for him. There's Sammy Watkins, there's Hollywood Brown, which has strong games. I was more disappointed that I didn't see anything from Duvernay or Porcher. Not from Wallace. I told you guys Wallace is not part of the game plan this year, in my opinion. So Man, as I was breaking this game after watching obviously the game against the Raiders, I was like, it's gonna be a long one this week. It is, and I'm waking up at 1 in the morning to see them lose probably, but it's gonna be a long one. At the end of the game, if you're clean, if you pressure, you stand a chance. Um, so, and offensively, I think go back to your identity of just running the ball down their throat. That's what they need to do. Hold on. So that's the way we can see the path to victory, and that's how it's gonna be. I see the guys just got here. So guys, like I said, hold on before I get in. Do you think our power run scheme is stressful on the players and partially responsible for all our injuries? Graham, I don't know. I don't know. I think O lines and running backs would love that scheme. Maybe you have an argument with wide receivers because they're blocking too much, but not for the rest. Okay, so saying that, we're gonna have our two guests here. These guys are from Cheats Focus. You can follow them on their podcast. I think I forgot to put the link in the description, but I will put it in the description below. Thank you for joining me, JP.
What's up, brother?
How you guys doing?
Good. How you doing, man?
Not bad, not bad. We did this collab last year, guys. So if they look familiar, yeah, we did this. I think it was audio only. Back then I was between moves. Anyway, we don't have to revisit that. I think, yeah. When I was moving out, my channel took a hit because my hotel internet sucks. They suck.
Oh,
yeah. Oh, believe me, I know, man. I live in Las Vegas, brother, and I've been to some hotels here that you'd think were 5-star, and the internet's just horrid. So I know what it's like.
Okay, well, I appreciate both of you for coming. And like I said, guys, if you have any questions, you can put it there in the super chat, and we'll ask the guys. But let's start with this. I'm gonna ask the first question. What is your thoughts of your new left tackle that came from Baltimore, Orlando Brown? Because he seemed to have not the strongest debut.
You know what, man? If you don't mind, Caleb, let me take this because I think he had a damn good second half. He started off a little slow, and it took him a minute to get acclimated. But I'm very happy with him.
Okay.
In general, I mean, I think he's going to work out very well compared to what we had prior. With the injuries and age, honestly, of what we had before. I have no complaints. What about you, Caleb? I mean.
No, yeah, honestly, when you're kind of just looking at it, I was really surprised that Orlando Brown was traded to the Chiefs because I considered the Chiefs and the Ravens rivals at that point. And when I saw the trade go through, I was kind of surprised. But yeah, I kind of agree with SZ that, yeah, he didn't have the best debut, but he played a lot better than what it would have been last year. And to see him grow, I think it's going to only help our offensive line become a lot better. And I think moving forward into the future, going against a lot of these teams that love to blitz, like the Ravens and the Browns, I think the Chiefs are going to be better overall prepared for these situations and can actually now run the ball. So I think it's going to be very crucial for them moving forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, Orlando Brown. Look, I love Orlando Brown. I knew we were going to trade him like 2 years ago because there was no way they were going to pay 2 tackles as we had to pay Lamar, Marlon Humphrey, and Andrews and the other guys that were coming at the same time. I was pissed that we traded to the Chiefs. I'm not gonna lie. And then the other thing that I got pissed, not only we traded to the Chiefs, and then you can find my rant for when that happens. But it's not that we traded to the Chiefs. Like that is like a salt on a wound. It's a compensation. The compensation got me hot. I was like, okay, what the F is this? You get a prime tackle, and this is the trade you're gonna get. Like I went off on our GM. So, but saying that, yeah, Orlando Brown's a really good tackle. Don't get me wrong. Orlando Brown's a solid tackle. I think he struggles a little bit with speed rushers. Now he's a mountain of a man, so it's hard to go around him. And but overall, I think Orlando Brown's a good tackle. And your O line right now is young, right? Other than Dooney's older. But other than Thuney, you get a rookie center, second year right guard, and the right tackle, I believe, is also a rookie, correct?
Yeah, he last season he opted out because of COVID, so he's technically a rookie this year. He was
Okay.
playing.
Yeah, and Orlando Brown's in his fourth year. Yeah, fourth year. So definitely a young line for discuss to me that you guys have been building this O line, because that's one of our problems currently is our O line is not good right now, and obviously the Ravens are getting hammered with injuries left and right. So saying that, let's talk about defensive first. Let's talk about Ravens defense. How do you see the offense for the Chiefs attacking this Ravens team?
Well, one thing I've noticed is the Ravens love to blitz no matter who the team is. And when you look at it in the day, the Chiefs are going to have to get the ball out quick because those guys on your guys' front seven are going to come after Mahomes. They're going to have to do counter runs if possible, and they're just going to have to get the ball out fast. They're going to have to just basically counteract, screenplay different things that are going to allow to pull the defense in and allow them to do different things like that.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that you guys love to do is blitz. I mean, you're the highest blitzing team in the NFL. But again, Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL against the blitz. He's done better than any other quarterback ever against the blitz. And, you know, I think that if you guys attack us that way, it's going to be a rough ride. You know, in the fact that you do have a lot of injuries, it's going to hamper you in a lot of ways. But again, we don't take any team for granted. I mean, you guys do have a lot of weapons on that team. Regardless of how you look at it, you guys got weapons. I mean, you've filled some spots, and we noticed last week. You know, it was a great example. The Browns. Everybody put a lot of hate on the Browns. They are a legitimate football team. No matter what anyone wants to say, they're a legitimate football team, and I can tell you now, I predicted it last week that they are the AFC champion. They are going to be the team that, if anybody plays us in the AFC championship game, it's going to be the Browns. I truly believe that. They are a strong football team all the way around. They're just going to get better. You know, 9 rookies on their defense, and they came out strong. They just look great. You know, the run for Baker's kind of mishaps towards the end, that game would have been, you know, we were missing a couple of key players as well with Tyron being out and, you know, Willie Gay being out. But for the most part, that was a tough game. There's not a team in this league right now, in the AFC, I should say, that is a joke. You know, regardless of injuries or not, there's no jokes out there. You know, they're in there for a reason. So you guys, you've got a ton of injuries, and you lost a few guys last week. You know, I think you lost, 3 players during that Raiders game last week? 2 or 3 players?
Yes, and plus before the Raiders game, we lost a bunch more.
Yeah, exactly. I think you guys are down I think 6 or 9. You're down 9 players now right now. Am I right?
Wow, we just put another person in the IR before this show, so.
Oh, God. I'm sorry, man. That sucks. I mean, it is what it is, but, you know, I mean, losing your corners and, you know, with Marcus Peters and everybody, that's a hard thing to happen, and we went through it. I mean, you know, we went through it last year. Was it last year, Caleb, that we went through it? And we had our line was injured from really week 2 on. We were just shuffling guys in and out from 3rd, 4th string guys. Just nobody really knew what the hell they were doing. I mean, it was terrible. And it really showed in the Super Bowl was when it really hit us the hardest. But we suffered through most of it. But it's a rough ride, and it's going to be a rough ride no matter how you look at it. You know, you guys are going to have to pick up some players at some point or another, and hopefully, you know, you can, you know, push through. It just kind of is what it is.
Yeah, I think JP, your mic is like either picking out a lot of static, or I don't know if you also hear it, Caleb.
I heard it, but I don't know if it was me. I don't know where that came from.
No, yeah, that person, that was Caleb. But I'm saying when you talk, JP, it's almost like maybe it's like blowing up almost.
Yeah, I kind of cranked it down a little bit. Let me see. There we go. Okay.
So I agree with a couple of your points. Talking specifically our defense, we're down a couple corners, right? We have Marlon Humphrey. Marlon Humphrey is a stout corner, but after him, we lost a number 2 corner, our number 3 corner, and now we lost a guy that was basically playing our de facto fourth DB. And the reason why the Ravens in this case use a lot of DBs because we blitz so much that we do a lot of man defense, right? So it's hard because again we keep losing corners and we're like, well, our pass rush is not great. Usually, if you have a great pass rusher, like a legit, you can rush 4 or 5, a la Washington, San Francisco, some of these other teams. Then your corners can relax a little bit more because the timing for that quarterback is shorter. Even in Cleveland, right? Cleveland's edge rushes are great between Garrett and Brown and Clowney. So Ravens don't have that. Ravens have Houston. Houston is decent still for his age, specifically. And on the other side, we have a rookie. They play fairly well against a Raiders team that is okay in the O line, but the Chiefs O line is way better, in my opinion, than what the Raiders did, and we could not put pressure into Carr, which scares me because the problem right now that I see for our defense is, okay, we blitz, and blitz works if you get there. But if you don't get there, you had Tyreek Hill that if Mahomes sees him single out against one of our DB3, he just can just chuck it down, say, Tyreek, either you get it or it's an incompletion. I don't care. Right? So you have to get there quick. And then if you don't pressure and you let Mahomes sit out there in a pocket, well, it's only so much a corner can do that you cannot even look at the receivers without getting a flag. So I think it's a big challenge right now for our defense. And my hope is they can contain them a little bit and they can force them basically bend and not break, play hell of a defense in the red zone. And between the 20s, I think the Chiefs are going to move the ball.
I mean, honestly, last week I watched that Raiders game, or the Ravens-Raiders game, and I got to tell you this. If it wasn't for the injuries on your team, you guys would have smoked them. I'm sorry. They don't have a defense. Carr's not that great. He's really not. He's not a... I don't know where... I still don't understand how he... And don't get me wrong. I don't like the Raiders. I've never liked the Raiders. This is not a Raider-hater session, but it's the fact that he's not good. Okay? He's okay. He's a system quarterback. He falters under pressure, and all those yardage came from the fact that you guys your defense was suffering. But I truly believe that if you had even 2 of your players back, especially in the quarterback position, you guys would have been in a lot better position. I think it would have been a completely different game. I just truly believe that because the Raiders just aren't that good. They have them in the top 5 in passing yards. And it made me sick to see that because I don't think Carr's done that ever. But it was rough to see, because I really truly wanted you guys to beat him. But it just is what it is. It happens. And, looking at that game, you guys are down to running backs and a few other players, but yet you guys hung with them throughout that game to the end. I mean, it would have been a 7-point game, am I right?
Well, yeah, because it was an overtime. They scored a touchdown.
Exactly. So, I mean, you guys hung with them all the way through. So, it kind of shows you that the Raiders, they're not that great, and you guys are really suffering in that end. I don't know what's going on with this mic. I've never had that issue, so I don't know what that's...
No, I think that was Caleb. So, but JP, by the way, I think it almost sounds like you also have like a vacuum in the background. So when Caleb is talking, I might mute you, and then when you talk, I'll mute you. Okay?
Okay, that's weird. Yeah.
So Caleb, what do you think about what JP's saying with the matchup between the Raiders and Ravens? Because again, my concern is I agree with what JP's saying about the Raiders, but we still lost that game, right? And then we have a higher power offense in the Chiefs. So obviously, if we couldn't stop the Raiders, the Chiefs presents a bigger problem for us.
No, I agree with you, and I agree with JP says first and foremost, because when you look at the game, the Raiders have an offense that's decent, but their defense is not that great. All I kind of really have is Max Crosby and a couple other players, and that's about it. The Ravens know how to move the ball down the field, and just due to some of those injuries, specifically to the running game, that caused them to have to that caused Lamar to have to throw the ball more. And he's not the best passer, as we already know, but he's getting better. And I feel like when it comes down to the end of the day, the Ravens need to build around him and put more wide receiver weapons to help them so they can win games like that against the Raiders. Because if Lamar keeps playing like the way he's been doing, they're going to need a little bit more help because the way they've been moving the ball, yeah, they can get it done against basic teams, but when you get against those hard teams like the Chiefs, the Browns, and maybe the Steelers this year, there's going to be struggles that happen.
Yeah, and especially when you're trying to pass the ball. The problem is, as I see it, and we'll talk about the offense in a minute, this defense from the Chiefs right now, the offense from the Chiefs right now, for me, it's just looking at it. I feel like for me, if there's a footprint, right? Everybody talks, what is the footprint to be X team? Well, the Chiefs, and I knew this when we played them last year and probably the year before, is pressure Mahomes, but with 5. If you need more than 5 to pressure Mahomes, you're done. You're done because now you're taking people that need to be in coverage, right? But if you can pressure him with 5 and you put the rest of the 6 in coverage, well, now he sees a lot of the other jerseys, plus the pressure's coming, so he cannot sit there and pass. And even with that, it's not like you're going to stop him, but you might slow him down. That's your attempt to beat the Chiefs right now. But let's flip it to the other side, right? Let's talk about Ravens offense against the Chiefs teams. I'll go with JP here first. What do you think the Chiefs defense need to do to stop the Ravens offense?
Well, I think a lot of it's going to have to be really containing Lamar and his run. Right now you guys are hurting on the running back side of the ball, and Lamar is phenomenal with the run. I mean, it just is what it is. Once he takes off, you've got to contain him. We've got Tyron coming back, and that's going to be a huge help. We've got some phenomenal corners out there. We've signed some great guys, and they've really adapted. I think the main goal is just going to be containing Lamar at this point. Hollywood stepped up more than I actually thought. Everybody downed him last year, and we kept hearing about how he was not a good wide receiver and he couldn't do this and he couldn't do that. Seemed to be playing fairly well. In my opinion, they're really going to have to contain Lamar and make him throw the ball. If they can make him pass, which I believe they can, that's going to contain him. I mean, that's going to be the end all of it. It's all about that, in my opinion.
Okay. Caleb?
Yeah, so I agree first off with JP. He brought up a great point. Lamar has just really Hollywood Brown and Mark Andrews. In order for the Chiefs to kind of stop them, they're going to have to shut down those 2 key players. In order for that to happen, they're going to have to basically double team Hollywood or have someone at the top, and they're going to have a linebacker and then also bring maybe down a safety to stop Andrews. Andrews is no joke. I watched him play Oklahoma, and that guy is very elusive. Same with Hollywood Brown, Oklahoma. Those guys are very, very fast. So the Chiefs are going to have to come down to the box. They're going to have to contain Lamar. They can't allow him to get any easy runs to extend drives. It can't be a 3rd and 6, and he runs for a 20-yard game and things like that. That's going to keep the defense on the field, and everyone knows that if the defense is on the field for 20, 30 minutes of the game, and even if they're a top 10 defense, they're going to tire out. We see that a couple years ago whenever the Chiefs, in a way, kind of broke the Jaguars. They were a great defense. They were kind of broken, and when they played other teams, they ended up not having the best defense overall, and the production dropped. So I think what the Chiefs need to do is they just need to shut down those 3 guys. Now, granted, you have Devontae Freeman and I think Latavius Murray's are running backs. So I'm kind of curious to see how those guys are going to do, because they're probably going to be focusing more on the run game in this instance. Because to be honest, the Chiefs' run game hasn't been the greatest at some time. So it'll be very interesting.
Yeah, no, this is something I was saying before you guys came. I said, like, for me, the path to beating the Chiefs is we need to run the ball down their throat. And we had to do it with read option and misdirection. And Sammy Watkins for us also played well. I know you guys are very familiar with Sammy Watkins. He played very well last week for us. So I think what you do is you have to run like Chris Jones, which is a beast. It's a beast of a man. But if you miss direction and then you run through it, the hope is as the play is getting off, that as he's trying to get off his man, the guy you pass him by, right?
That's true.
So that's the main thing. Because I think Chris Jones is trying to get that defensive player of the year already. He's awesome. So if we run down the throats, if that does two things, release Mahomes on the bench, nice and happy, you're looking pretty over there. Second, it tires that defense, right? You're basically you're making that defense. You're pounding them. You're making them grind more on the running clock. So it gives you, in my opinion, as I see a path to victory, which is very slim for me, is just run down their throat to the Chiefs. Make the linebacker, and then when you see the Chiefs then try to cheat and come down a little bit, then even if you don't hit every time, throw it down the field with Hollywood Brown.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
Because I don't think the Chiefs have a corner that can play on an island with that fast as a receiver. And when I say Hollywood, I don't only mean Hollywood Brown. Let me rephrase that. When you see, let's say you see the Chiefs going down as playing down, because if we're having success in the ball, that's when you go and say, Sammy, you're gonna go wide to one side, or Duvernay, and then you're gonna go Hollywood on the other side. You're gonna let Mark Andrews go through the from the line. Very similar to some of the packages that you guys do, right? And I think as soon as the Chiefs see that the play is not gonna be a run and Lamar keeps it, if you have Mark Andrews going to the middle, that's gonna even command more attention to that middle. And that's where, again, that's when you, similar to what I said with the Mahomes will do with Tyreek Hill. I'm not saying that Hollywood Brown is near as good as Tyreek Hill, but then you have a corner and a receiver on an island. And when that happens, that 50% of the time it's either a completion or not OPI, or DPI, right? Defensive pass interference, right? And because it's the nature of the beast, how I don't like how they call the games usually, but that's how they're calling it. So I think that's where the Ravens can exploit a little bit in the passing game. I don't think it's gonna be a lot, again, because if we go back to passing, I think our O-line is going to get eat up, especially by that guy, Chris Jones. And the reality is, if Lamar doesn't have time, you don't have time to develop those plays to go down the field. Any thoughts?
Well, I see what you're saying. But one thing I would say is that in my opinion, I kind of feel that L'Jarius Sneed, our corner, Mike Hughes, our other corner, I feel like they could at least kind of box Hollywood Brown. I feel like they could at least try to slow him down, if anything. He's going to get his catches, but I don't think he's going to hurt them over the top as much as the Chiefs were hurt last game, because that's something I know that the defense likes to correct week after week after week. And we're getting our quote-unquote quarterback of the defense back, Tyrann Mathieu.
Yep.
He is one heck of a general out there on the field. He tells people where to set. He knows what he needs to do in certain situations. And even Frank Clark's coming back is going to help Chris Jones off the edge.
Yeah,
one thing the Chiefs have had issues with is getting pressure. And that's one thing the Ravens have been fantastic at, getting pressure on opposing QBs, making quarterbacks like Mahomes move out of the pocket. But regards to this game, I really think it's going to be interesting to see how both teams handle pressure, because people are writing off the Ravens right now. And one thing that JP and I said on our show last night, we still think any given Sunday, the Ravens are still a good team. And when you see that stuff happen, it allows you to know that the Ravens, they're struggling, but what we know at the end of the day, it's going to be a great game regardless. It's going to be a good game, and the Ravens are still going to make it competitive. They're just not going to bow down. It's not going to be no 23-point swing at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, especially not an M&T Bank as a home opener. JP, what are your thoughts?
Here's the thing. I mean, I agree with Caleb. When it comes to L'Jarius Sneed, he is fast, he's elusive, and he understands the game for a very young guy. With Tyrann coming back, he is like, honest to God, he's the general, and he reads offenses very well. And he tells everybody where to be, when to be there. With his help over the top, it's going to be difficult for any wide receiver just to get wide open unless they're just a phenomenal wide receiver and just have the speed to be able to, and the route running ability to be able to just blow by these guys. I mean, we've picked up some great corners in the offseason. You know, we've got Hughes and we've got Snead, we've got Ward. Everybody has really kind of gelled together, and they've gotten better and better each week. You know, especially even in the offseason, you've just seen everybody, they just kind of gelled together. But again, we can't write anyone off. Like, you know, Caleb said, we talked about this last night. There's nobody in this league you can really write off. I mean, I can't say that. There's a couple of teams that are just, okay, yeah, they are what they are. But for the most part, when you look at the Ravens, you know, teams that are struggling, it doesn't mean that they're not going to be good later on down the stretch, or it doesn't mean they're not going to be a tough team to beat. You have to take them just like you would take any other team. You have to go out there and fight and fight and fight until the clock strikes zero. It just is what it is. So with that being said, I think Hollywood has got the speed. He's picked up his route running really well. I think he's done well. And again, with pointing out what Caleb said, you know, everybody bashed the contract of Mark Andrews. I don't understand the bashing with that. The guy, and I've said this, Caleb will tell you this, I've said this for 3 years, that I thought he was one of the best tight ends in the league. And everybody thought he was just this average tight end. I think, in my opinion, and it's probably an unpopular opinion, I think he's better than Kittle. Here's the reason why I say that. Has Mark Andrews been sitting on a bench for 3 years because of injuries? No, he is not. Okay? He's not stupid. He's a very intelligent player that has learned, okay, yes, I do have to block, but I'm not going to hurt myself to do that. I'm going to go out. He's got great hands. He knows how to catch. He knows how to run routes, but he also knows how to block and not get himself injured. Kittle has injured himself every year he's been in the league. Every year, and he's missed multiple games every year. But yet, because he's been so, I guess, publicized to a degree, they've made him number 2 in the league. And I don't think he is. In my opinion, I just don't believe he is. I still think Mark Andrews is number 2 in the league. I think it's Kelsey, Mark Andrews, then you could put Kittle in there if you want. But I think he's a better tight end. Mentally, football IQ-wise, I think he's a better tight end. That's just my opinion.
No. I mean, that's fair. I mean, I think Mark Andrews is phenomenal, obviously. I love the guy. Let's wrap up with this. Let's do some score prediction. I'm assuming you guys did that yesterday in your channel, in your podcast. So, what is the score predictions do you have for this game?
Go ahead, JP.
Well, given the injuries, and I know last year I gave my score prediction, and you said, "Oh, a blowout," and it ended up pretty close, but I because of the injuries and because of the way things have gone, I think I picked this game. I don't remember the exact numbers last night because it was kind of late, but I want to say it was somewhere around 38-24.
Yeah, you get about a 15-point swing, yeah.
About a 15-point swing. I want to say it was 38-24 Chiefs because your defense has so many injuries. Okay. And that was just my thought process on it.
Okay. Caleb.
When I was looking at it, I think the Chiefs are going to end up winning. I think the score is going to be maybe a little bit closer than what people think. It's going to be Sunday Night Football. I mean, the Sunday Night Football song that everyone loves is going to be on. All the different things are going to happen. Lamar's going to be fired up, ready to play. All these other guys, Marlon Humphreys, if he gets a chance to play. But I think when it comes down to it, I think the Chiefs are going to end up winning 37-24. I think the game's going to be a little bit closer in the end. I think Lamar's going to try to show up and show out, which I expect him to do every night he plays. And I think Mahomes and him are going to continue to battle. There's going to be some turnovers here or there. The defensive line of the Ravens is going to get after Mahomes, but in certain instances they're going to stop.
Okay. Sorry guys, that's okay. So look, I think the Ravens will give them hell. Right? It's their home opener. Fans haven't been in this stadium for a year, so obviously fans are super excited. Even with the loss, they're super excited to pack the bank, as we call it, and I think the Ravens will still lose this game. It's hard for me to predict a victory with all the injuries, especially against the Chiefs. But I'm gonna go 35-28, one touchdown, Chiefs, and I think the Ravens give them hell. But at the end of the day, it's gonna be a little bit too much, which it breaks my heart. It's obviously, but I think the Chiefs are the top of the league, the whole league, but obviously in the AFC as well. And the Ravens, I think if they were healthy, I would have been picking the Ravens, especially because it was a home opener. But not being healthy, too many injuries in the corner, which is not good. Having too many corners injured against a Chiefs team. Uh, and I will say this: one of my keys to this game is make the Chiefs basically, which it might sound not the smartest thing, but make the Chiefs throw the ball. Meaning, you don't want the running game to go off, because if the running game goes off, you know how good that passing game is, and then you're just screwed. Because if not only they can kill you on the air, they can also kill you on the ground. Then there's no way you can stop this offense. If you stop the running, then at least you basically can try to predict how the offense is gonna move. Still gonna be very hard to stop, but make sure CEH doesn't go off. That will be another key to the game. But yeah, I have the Chiefs by a touchdown, a little bit high scoring game, which I'm not a fan of high scoring games, being more of a defensive guy. I like them low scoring. But anyway, thank you guys for coming. JP, Caleb, where they can find you.
They can follow us, me at Chiefs Focus, and follow JP at JP Chiefs.
Yep.
Okay. I did put the Chiefs Focus in the description below. I'll put the other one later as well in the description. Guys, I would like to know, what is your score prediction? Make sure you put it in the comments. Make sure you follow and subscribe to the channel. Give the video a like, and go check both JP and Caleb. I love, checking during the game how the other team is tweeting about us. So go follow them. Go check their podcast. And hey, thank you again, Caleb. Thank you, JP. Thank you, everybody that's watching. Thank you for the ones who are going to watch the replay. We'll see you next time. Peace out, my guys.